Imagine a world where gods walked among men, where every storm, every battle, every victory was shaped by powerful forces beyond human control. In ancient Greece, one of the most feared and misunderstood of these gods was Ares, the god of war. Not war as a noble cause or a necessary evil, but war in its rawest, wildest, most chaotic form. Ares was the embodiment of rage, bloodshed, and bravery. But behind the clashing of swords and the pounding of shields lies a deeper story. A story about pride, loneliness, passion, and ultimately, the struggle for respect and purpose. This is the untold story of Ares, the god of war. Ares was born on Mount Olympus, the shimmering home of the gods. His parents were two of the most powerful deities in Greek mythology, Zeus, the king of the gods, and Hera, his queen. Yet even from the beginning, Ares' story was complicated. Some say that Hera, angry and jealous over Zeus's many affairs, decided to create a child all by herself. And that child was Ares. Born out of spite rather than love, Ares entered the world already carrying the fire of resentment and passion inside him. From the time he was young, Ares was different. While Apollo found beauty in music and Athena sought wisdom in strategy, Ares was drawn to conflict. He was the god of physical battle, of blood spilled and lives risked. It wasn't calculation that thrilled him. It was the raw chaos, the adrenaline, the primal energy of war itself. Among the gods of Olympus, he was often seen as a necessary evil, a reminder that while strategy and wisdom were noble, battle often came down to who was willing to fight harder and endure longer. Despite his divine strength, Ares was not loved among the gods. His sister Athena, goddess of wisdom and war strategy, was revered. She represented discipline, cleverness, and noble victory. Ares, by contrast, represented uncontrolled fury. He was reckless, impulsive, and often seen as a troublemaker. Even Zeus, his own father, said he despised Ares more than any other god. Among mortals, Ares was both feared and worshipped. In times of war, soldiers prayed for his strength and courage. In times of peace, they feared that his presence would stir conflict where none was needed. To some Greek cities, Ares was almost an outcast among the gods. Yet to others, like the Spartans, he was a symbol of honor, bravery, and unbreakable willpower. War was not the only passion that consumed Ares. Like many gods, he experienced love, in particular a forbidden and scandalous love. Ares fell deeply for Aphrodite, the goddess of beauty and desire. Aphrodite was already married to Hephaestus, the god of craftsmanship and fire. Yet she and Ares shared a magnetic attraction that neither could resist. Their love was fiery, intense, and secret, or so they thought. One day, Hephaestus discovered the affair and devised a clever trap. He crafted an invisible net so fine and strong that it could catch even the gods. One night, as Ares and Aphrodite lay together, the net fell upon them, binding them tightly. Hephaestus then summoned the other gods to witness their humiliation. The gods laughed and jeered at Ares, and even Zeus chuckled at the sight. Yet even this humiliation did not end Ares' relationship with Aphrodite. From their union came several children, most notably Eros, the mischievous god of love, Harmonia, the goddess of harmony, and Phobos and Deimos, the personifications of fear and terror. In a way, Ares' legacy was not just war and chaos. It was also love and balance, fear and courage. As the centuries passed, Ares' story intertwined with some of the most famous events in Greek mythology, none more so than the Trojan War. When Paris of Troy abducted Helen, queen of Sparta, the Greek world erupted into a devastating war. Heroes like Achilles, Hector, and Odysseus fought on the blood-soaked fields of Troy, and where there was bloodshed, Ares was never far behind. Although gods were supposed to remain neutral in mortal affairs, Ares could not resist the pull of battle. He sided with the Trojans, not out of loyalty, but out of love for conflict. He threw himself into the war with all the fury he could muster. At first, he was unstoppable. Greek warriors fell before him like leaves before a storm. His armor gleamed like fire, his sword drank deeply of mortal blood. Ares' arrogance became his downfall. His rival Athena, who supported the Greeks, guided the hero Diomedes to wound Ares. Empowered by Athena, Diomedes hurled his spear, and to the shock of all, the god of war bled. Ares roared in agony, a sound so terrible it made the earth tremble. Humiliated and furious, Ares fled the battlefield, nursing his wound and his pride. Even gods can fall. Even gods can suffer. This was one of the many contradictions of Ares. For all his strength, he was often undone by his emotions, by his impulsiveness, his pride, and his refusal to think before acting. After the Trojan War, Ares withdrew from the affairs of mortals for a time. He wandered the earth, the fields of battle now silent. In the loneliness of broken cities and abandoned fortresses, he reflected on the cost of his endless hunger for war. Perhaps, in those quiet moments, Ares began to understand something he never could during the clash of battle: that war leaves behind only silence and sorrow. But Ares was not only the god of battle, he was also the god of survival. In the ruins among the ashes, life would eventually return. Farmers would replant fields. Builders would raise new homes. Children would laugh again in streets once soaked in blood. And in that renewal there was a different kind of victory, a quieter, stronger kind of courage, one that Ares in his own way came to respect. In Athens, Ares was once put on trial for murder, the killing of Areopagus, son of Poseidon, who had attacked Ares' daughter, Alcippe. This trial, held on the rocky hill that would become known as the Areopagus, was a turning point. Ares was acquitted, and the trial became a model for future courts of law in Athens. Through this, Ares was linked not just to war, but to justice, a reminder that violence, when tempered by honor, could defend the innocent and uphold what was right. Today, the spirit of Ares lives on in ways both obvious and subtle. In every soldier who fights to protect others, in every athlete who pushes their body to the limit, in every person who battles through adversity to reach a goal. The fire that Ares embodied, the will to fight, to endure, to overcome, still burns in the human heart. But his story also serves as a warning. Passion without reason leads to ruin. Rage without wisdom leads to downfall. True strength is not just about fighting harder. It's about knowing when to fight and when to seek peace. Ares reminds us that conflict is part of life, but so is rebuilding. So is healing. So is learning to find purpose beyond the battle. He reminds us that even in the aftermath of our fiercest struggles, we can choose to plant our swords into the ground and let something new grow. Ares, the god of war, the misunderstood, the fierce, the proud, is in the end not just a figure from ancient stories. He is a mirror of every struggle we fight, every mistake we make, every triumph we earn, every lesson we carry forward. The next time you find yourself in the middle of a battle, whether it's on a field, in a courtroom, or in your own heart, remember Ares. Remember that strength without wisdom is reckless, but strength guided by courage and heart can move mountains. And perhaps, just perhaps, that is the true legacy of Ares. Not destruction, but resilience. Not endless war, but the ability to rise after the fall. May his story remind you that while the battles we face may be fierce, the victory worth fighting for is the peace we build after. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the life and legacy of Ares, the Greek god of war. If you enjoyed exploring these timeless myths with us, don't forget to subscribe to Mythology Compendium for more incredible legends, gods, heroes, and epic tales. Share this story with others who love mythology, history, and ancient wisdom. Together, let's keep these legends alive. Subscribe now, and join us on our next mythological adventure.